Black Eye Perspective.
A proposed California bill would allow children ages 12 and above to be vaccinated without their parental consent. California Democrat State Senator Scott Wiener introduced the bill late Thursday in Sacramento. Giving young people the autonomy to receive life saving vaccines, regardless of their parents' belief or work schedules, is essential for their physical and mental health, Wiener said, according to the Associated Press report. It's unconscionable for teens to be blocked from the vaccine because a parent either refuses or cannot take their child to a vaccination site, he added. Wiener, whose district includes San Francisco and parts of San Mateo, also announced the legislation introduction on Twitter on Friday. He says, quote, I introduced new legislation number SB 866 to lower the vaccine age of consent from 18 to 12. Vaccinated teens are at risk, put others at risk, and make schools less safe. They often can't work, participate in school, sports, or go to friends' houses or homes, or I should say friends' homes, and lets teens protect their health, he wrote. Weiner also noted that the state law already allows 12 to 17-year-olds to access various forms of health care without their parental consent, including the HPV and the Hep B vaccines, abortion care, birth control, mental health care, domestic violence, and related care. He says nearly 1 million 12 to 17-year-olds in California aren't vaccinated for COVID, and many want to get vaccinated, but parents won't let them or aren't making the time to take them. Teens should not have to rely on parents' views and availability to protect themselves from the deadly virus, Weiner said in another post. Quote, SB 866 builds this existing law to expand the vaccine access. He also added that SB 866 allows 12 to 17-year-olds to gain access without the consent of their parents. And he also says that teens should not have to plot or scheme or fight with their parents to get the vaccine. They should simply be able to walk in and get vaccinated like anyone else, he wrote. Here is his tweet, Senator Scott Wiener. Teens shouldn't have to plot to scheme or scheme to fight or to get their parent. Oh, there it is for you. You can read that. I just can't. As a grandmom, I just can't. Wiener further noted that co-authors of the state bill, along with expressing thanks to the bill's sponsoring organizations. It'd be great to know who is sponsoring. Here we go. The Protect Us WT and Teens for Vax. Those are the folks that are the sponsoring organizations. And the co-authors are Dr. Pan, MD, Buffy Wicks, Josh Newman, California, and Evan_Lowe, as Michaela Weber, and Laura Friedman, 43, Cecilia, 84, and Phil Tang. Quote, SB 866 is expected to have its first committee hearing on March or April, Politico reported. Quote, additional legislation is expected from other members of the vaccine caucus. This could include consumer mandates and requirements for workplace safety, as well as measures to eliminate the personal belief exemption at schools for COVID vaccinations, the report added. The Daily Wire previously reported on California's plans to require the vaccinations for all eligible students. Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom announced on October the 1st that his state would be the first to require eligible students in private and public schools to be vaccinated against the COVID-19 to be able to go to school in person. The mandate would go into effect once the vaccines have been fully approved, not merely granted emergency use authorization. According to KFI News in Los Angeles, quote, the governor is directing the California Department of Public Health to add the COVID vaccine to other vaccinations required for in-person learning, close quote. Several school districts have pushed back on the statewide vaccine mandate for students. This is from the Daily Wire, and the link will be down below in the description. There are also a couple of other stories that I wanted to bring to you. One that we just posted up on Headlines with a Voice. So let me bring that to you if you've not already seen it. You may have already viewed it, but I do want to share it with you here. And, it's dealing with the TSA. So let's just get right into that. The Transportation Security Administration revealed that unlawful immigrants who are unable to obtain proper identification are being allowed to pass through security using an arrest warrant to prove their identity. Representative Lance Gooden, Republican of Texas, has sent a letter to the TSA after a whistleblower claimed the agency was allowing unknown migrants to board commercial airlines in the U.S. The TSA administrator, David Pekosik, responded, explaining that certain departments of Homeland Security documents may be considered acceptable alternate forms of ID, including a warrant for arrest of alien and a warrant of removal/deportation. The other acceptable forms include an order of release on recognizance, an order of supervision, or an order to appear, and an arrival and departure form or alien booking record, according to a letter obtained by the dailymail.com, and the Daily Caller was the first to report this news. If the traveler does not have acceptable ID, two forms of alternate ID are required. They are subject to additional screening. The policy applies to non-U.S./Canadian citizens who do not have government-issued ID or passports. The DHS said that an average of 159 passengers fly throughout the United States using these DHS-issued documents per day. TSA response confirms that the Biden administration is knowingly putting our national security at risk. Gooden told the Daily Mail, he says, quote, unknown and unvetted immigrants shouldn't be allowed in the country, he says, much less flying without proper identification, close quote. The TSA commented to ensure that all travelers, regardless of immigration status, are pre-screened before they arrive to the airport. They continue with have their pre-screening status and identification verified at security checkpoints and receive appropriate screening based on risk before they enter the sterile area of the airport, Pekosik wrote in a letter. There are currently 11 million undocumented immigrants living in the United States. In the fiscal year of 2021, nearly 2 million migrants came into contact with the immigration enforcement, according to a new Customs and Border Protections report. The agency says that 62% of those seeking asylum or illegally crossing into the United States were expelled from the country under Title 42, a provision that allows deportation of illegal immigrants in the midst of a public health emergency. And it goes on, there's a dot illusion, ULSION, through processing as Title 42 or Title 8 immigration enforcement cases. Of the 1,956,519 migrants, there were 1.72 million CBP encounters that resulted in either expulsion under the CDC's Title 42 Public Health Authority or processing as Title 8 immigration enforcement cases. Immigrants proceed under Title 8 are transferred to ICE, which has the authority to release them pending expedited removal or longer formal removal through court proceedings. The link to this will be down below as well for you. We have one other story. Actually, there's two that I wanted to read. The main one is this one here. It's dealing with the Pfizer CEO while he was visiting he was questioning or answering something that was going on there in Israel. But let me give that story to you and you let me know what you think about this because I think it's quite curious. Let me use the spirit of discernment. I think I don't want to use that one because there's a lot of stuff that's in that one that's sort of triggering. What I will say is we'll go into another story, and that's from Regina King. I'm not sure if you know who she is, but she is an actress. She used to play on a show called 227 many years ago. She went on to be a leading actor in some movies where she's played people's wives, like characters from Will Smith all the way to others. However, she is now grieving. Let me show you a picture of her while I pause this to sneeze. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so hi Deb Woods, hey Steve, and hey Marty Lauderdale. We're looking at Regina King, and this is her, this really attractive black lady. If you remember, she was on 227. She really hasn't aged since she was a child, but unfortunately, this is her son, her only son, and he passed away. They state that he passed away um, of Hirikiri. Okay, so let's just go on. Regina King's only son, Ian Alexander Jr., has died by that word I don't want to say. He died on Wednesday, January 19th, which was also his 26th birthday. They say that no further details were released. But 5 days prior, Ian took to Twitter. Now, you let me know what you think about this. Be cognizant of what we put because this sounds a little unique. Just 5 days prior, Ian took to Twitter writing, quote, I don't think Instagram is a healthy place for me. He also compared his mental state that of a seemingly distressed cartoon character. Now this, I want you to pay attention to this. He says, you know that episode of SpongeBob where they go inside his brain and it's like a bunch of mini SpongeBobs just losing their S? Yeah, that one really hits home, he says. King's spokesman confirmed her son's death in a statement Saturday reading, quote, our family is devastated at the deepest level by the loss of Ian. Now listen to this. They go on to say that he is such a bright light who cared so deeply about the happiness of others. Our family also asks for respectful consideration during this private time. It goes on to say in the next paragraph that Ian was an artist and a DJ who performed under the stage name, it looks like Desdune or Desdune. I don't know how to pronounce that. It looks like Desdun. It says that the musician had a show scheduled for Friday in Los Angeles, a show scheduled as an entertainer in Los Angeles, and had promoted the performance on his Instagram account only 3 days ago. He wrote, quote, it's been a minute, but now we back at the jump off. Don't you want to say you supported Desdune before the blow up, he wrote. The 26-year-old was also a celebrity chef, telling Flaunt magazine last May that he aspired to open his own restaurant within the next 3 years. Listen carefully. King, 51, shared Ian with her former husband, record producer Ian Alexander Sr. The two divorced in 2007 after 10 years of marriage. He is her only child and often accompanied her on red carpet events. This is the SpongeBob theme that he referenced. Okay, and this is his Twitter. But that's the SpongeBob episode he referenced. That's what he said the inside of his brain felt like before he was scheduled to perform in Los Angeles on Friday. He had promoted the performance on his Instagram account 3 days ago. Okay. It goes on to say that in addition to his upcoming shows, Ian just released a new single, Green Eyes, on January the 7th. So that means that he was obviously anticipating seeing the great results and the reviews that he would receive from his labor that he had put out this release January 7th. Now, it goes on to say that on Instagram a week ago, King shared a clip of the track urging her followers to check it out. She says, quote, now listening to Green Eyes, the actress wrote, Desdune said he'd quit smoking if I get him 1 million streams. Man, listen, I got this gem on repeat, close quote. King shared a close bond with her son, so he had a very close relationship with his mother, who often accompanied her to events and called her Super Mom at the 2019 Golden Globe Awards. Speaking about his famous mother previously, Ian said, "She's just a super mom. She doesn't really let bad days at work or anything come back and ruin the time that we have. It's really awesome. I have a mother who I can enjoy spending time with," close quote. The If Beale Street Could Talk actress separated from Ian's father back in 2017 after 9 years of marriage. So that means they're probably considering that 1 year of the divorce and all that other stuff, because they did say 10 earlier on in the article. But it says the pair had matching tattoos reading "Unconditional Love" in Aramaic. And this is the son right here. Yeah, everywhere she went, he was there. They apparently had a very good relationship. Let's see if this can be
Free
heard.
Tax USA.
Oh, gosh.
Free? Let's
We
break.
don't want to hear that. But while this is booting up, I want you guys to let me know. I'm on the other side, so I can't see your comments, but I definitely will read them as soon as I come back on that side. And it looks like we can just skip this. Let's go ahead and listen. Oh, it's just giving us what happened, but I don't want to play that music because there is no copyright for that music. Our family is devastated by the deepest level of the loss of Ian. He is such a bright young man, but this is him, this is her, and this is her only child. And he has praised his mother. He's not had any public issues where he is concerned. She's not had any public issues where her son is concerned. He accompanied her everywhere she went. Huh. This is him. This is her twin. Now you may remember her on 227 many, many years ago. You see that? You may remember her. Do you remember her? Does anybody remember seeing her? Yeah, if they were that close, right, Deb? And she's an amazing person. I mean, you know, I know a lot of people in entertainment, and I've never heard anything negative about her. There are a few that I have. I won't repeat, but I've never heard anything negative about her. She's been consistent throughout the years. It says, devastating actress 51 confirmed the tragic news to People on Friday with a statement reading that our family is devastated at the deepest level by the loss of Ian. But they're not telling us anything else. Artistic soul Ian was an artist and a DJ known as DJ Buttercream, pictured attending a Child Help Hollywood Heroes October of 2017 in Beverly Hills, California. Here he is on the wheels, spinning his wheels as the DJ. It goes on to say that in 2011, Regina spoke with Essence and revealed how much she adored Ian. She said, quote, "I get emotional because my son is an amazing young man, and it took me to be a mother for me to realize how incredible of a woman she, my mother, is." She went on saying, "You don't know what unconditional love is. You may say you do, but if you don't have a child, you don't know what that is." She continues with, "But when you experience it, it is the most fulfilling ever. So this is the greatest part about me, being a mom to Ian," she says. There she is again. Yeah, there she is again. Beautiful, stunning gown, stunning lady. This is when she was younger. That's her former husband. And there is Ian. Yeah. Former husband. This is her. And that's the baby. Meanwhile, Ian shared a lovely message for Regina's 50th birthday last year, writing on Instagram, "Happy birthday to my whatever that is, so extremely proud of you. and inspired by your love, your artistry, and gangsta. To be able to watch you take this lifetime by its neck and make it yours is something I will forever be grateful for. He went on, but to have you as a mother is the greatest gift I could ask for. To be all that you are while always having time to be there. This doesn't sound like somebody who would do something to himself, but she's got the time to be there. The love and support for me unconditionally is remarkable. The whole Marvel universe ain't got S on you. The real superhero. Love you, Mom. This day and every day. Yo day, meaning her birthday. You see this. So something's not right. But I do know that to perform in Los Angeles at any venue, it requires one thing in particular. I do know that. It says in 2017, King revealed an episode of The View that the two share matching tattoos. She said, "We're talking Kabbalah classes, taking Kabbalah classes." He said, "Let's choose 3 designs each and not tell each other which ones they're going to choose, whichever one is matching, and that's the one that we're going to get tattooed." And we both chose unconditional love while portraying a grieving mother who recently lost her child in Netflix 7-second series. In 2019, the actress spoke about how her own experiences as a mother prepared her for the role. "My son makes me happier than anything in the world. To be in a space of a mother losing her child for 6 months was terrifying," she said, for playing that role. That's her and her baby. I'm sorry, but that's not a child who would do that to himself. I'm a mother of of 4 sons. And Anyway, it says, word of Ian's death spread quickly on social media with celebrities and prominent figures offering their thoughts and prayers to King. Quote, "Deepest condolences and prayers for strength too at Regina King, sending back to her all the warmth and light and support that she has extended to me and to so many others." Sherilyn Enfield, the president and director counsel of the NAACP Legal Defense and the Educational Fund, posted on Twitter. King, who directed One Night in Miami and has starred in numerous films, is the recipient of 2 NAACP Image Awards. Bernice King, the CEO of the Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolent Change and the daughter of King, posted on Twitter praying for Regina. She needs all the grace and light that can flow her way right now. Okay? So, yeah, I think that's tragic, especially to happen to somebody who is such an awesome person as she is. Like I said, I do know a lot of people in the industry, and I've never heard anything negative about her. Nothing. I haven't. And so, yeah, that's it's pretty sad, but it's quite curious as well. I'll just say that. Yeah, just quite curious. Let's see who we've got over here before we say adios. Let me go. Deb Woods, we said, hey. Steve Willis, what is unconscionable is SB8C. I love Steve. I just love it. Hi, Marty. Wow. Okay. 5-7. He wouldn't do that if they were that close. Sounds, yep. Yep, it's not right. It also sounds like there could be something else. Yes, Deb Woods. Yes. Yes, he didn't. Not at all. And you know what? I don't know, but he just might be. He may end up being that. But I truly believe that in order for him all to have all this stuff that was planned in Los Angeles at the time, yeah, he probably had a few things going. So we read the proposed bill for California. We just read the TSA's wonderful regulations and how kind they are to immigrants who don't have identification. How the wonderful, awesome TSA is so kind for allowing people to travel without their identification. We read that story. We just read the Regina King story. And I think I want to just maybe tiptoe around this other story because it is Let's get in it. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. Okay. Now, the CEO to the CEO to this place, okay, to the Israeli TV, says that he's giving a prediction that the world should be back to near normal in a few months. This was today at 10:01 p.m. their time. Okay. Um, I'm gonna make his name big because I really don't feel like going through anything with this, but we're gonna see what we can do, right? Try to make it big, and let's get this off. No thanks. All right, so you see that? Yeah, I think you can. Let me scooch. Let me scooch back over. You see that? So that's his prediction. He says that the U.S. based pharma firm is aiming to produce an annual one to cover all of them, every one that they've had, from the A to the Z or the O. And he accuses these people of causing millions of adios, taking people out but not to lunch, for the misgiving of conversation. Yeah, this is probably going to have to go on another place. But I'm just going to put that there for you so you guys can read it because I know you can. Can you see that? That's terrible. In interviews with the television there Saturday, this CEO predicted that the world would go back to the way it used to be, nearly the way it used to be, within a few months, and said that the firm was aiming to make something just happen on an anniversary every year for all. For all. Once a year is easier to convince people to do it, and it's easier for people to remember. From a public health situation, it's an ideal solution. We are looking to see if we can create it that covers everything, covers it all. And then he also goes on to say that the candy bar won't be eradicated, that it's going to be around for a very long time. Yeah. Yep. And they were going to that they were going to continue to be abnormalities such as this one down here, the Ohio players. Uh-huh. He noted that the company that he works for was working on one for just that Ohio players. But he did say that there's possibly going to be more. That it's having the tendency to create them really quickly and to escape protection from the I-Force. Huh. Isn't that amazing? How do you know that? How does he know that? How does anybody know that? Yeah. I got to leave that alone before I get myself in trouble. Hey, M. Leslie, how are you? Sounds more like a... You see what I'm saying? Oh, wow, we only have 4 in here now. Aw, you guys. Who's on? Let me go see. Because there's usually people who are a little more interesting. A little more interesting than I am. And sometimes it's easier for me to see who's on. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody that but then again, I have the other channel over here up on my side. So let me see who else there is. Who else is up? Who else is up? Who else is up? I don't see anybody else. But it looks like we only got 4 folks over here with us. So I'm not going to let you guys hang on like that. I'm blessed, though. My employer granted me. And I need to show you the story about how they had not given out any of those for the military. I'm not sure if you guys saw that. Hey, Deb Woods, I see you, sis. I see you. I see Mr. Leslie. I'm so glad that went that way for you. I'm so glad that went that way for you. Really am, Leslie. I'm very happy. Very, very happy to know that. Let me see what else, what other information I got over here before I let you guys go. Wow. It looks like there's a lot of meningitis coming around here pretty soon. Huh. Huh. Wow, it's a lot of stories talking about that. Mm. What is this? Let's see. This is from my assistant, so let me see what news this is. Watson Health deal includes imaging, pop software, another system outsourced with Optum. Oh, I know who that is. IBM. Mm, mm, um, Another health system. There's a lot of stuff going on in the healthcare systems right now. State officials want more time, money to resume Medicaid renewals. Boy, and people aren't getting what they think they're going to get with that either. Health Alliance plan offers buyouts to its older workers. Wow. Do you guys want to hear that? Ugh. CVS Caremark settlement over transaction fees hinges on federal decision. Well, let's just see what that's about. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Maybe something I can shun an eye through. Okay. The Oklahoma Insurance Department has entered into a settlement agreement with CVS Caremark over transaction fees. The pharmacy benefit manager charges pharmacists to process the Medicare Part D and group health plan claims, the agency announced on Thursday. The CVS Health subsidiary will pay $4.8 million to settle the alleged violations of the state's Patients' Rights to Pharmacy Choice Act. CVS Caremark will pay $2.3 million in restitution to drugstores and $2.5 million in penalties to the state. Quote, the CVS Caremark was cooperative during our investigation, and we were able to work together through negotiations to ensure there is a level playing field that is abiding by the rules of Patients' Rights to Pharmacy Choice Act and other PBM statutes, the Oklahoma Insurance Commissioner Glenn Mulready, Republican, said in a news release. He continues, with the rising cost of health care throughout the pandemic, it is more important than ever to ensure the companies fully comply with our laws to protect consumers and other businesses. CVS Caremark did not respond to requests for comment, but the Oklahoma statute underpinning the CVS Caremark settlement, however, is subject of a federal legal dispute. The Pharmaceutical Care Management Association, a PMB industry group, filed a lawsuit arguing the Federal Employee Retirement Income Security Act, which governs workplace benefit programs, preempts the state law. If the plaintiff were to prevail, CVS Caremark would not have to pay Oklahoma or the pharmacies. CVS Health is a PCMA member. A federal appeals court ruled in November that the North Dakota's law imposing requirements on the pharmacy benefit managers comports with the ERISA, potentially settling a precedent, a precedent for similar lawsuits. North Dakota bans companies such as CVS Caremark from owning stakes in patient assistance programs or mail order specialty pharmacies. While it upheld the North Dakota statute, the federal court ruled the state could not limit pharmacy benefit managers' fees because that conflicts with the federal law related to Medicare Part D. CVS Caremark faced legal action last year for allegedly steering patients toward its pharmacies and overcharging patients for prescription drugs. The company won that case in June. Huh. So there's that. There's that. What do you know? Let's see what else we got over here for you. Let's see what's making the dogs in the UK sick. Okay, let's check it out. But he sent another one before this. This is from the mailbag. Mystery illness. Yorkshire Water responds over polluted water fears. Yeah, right. How convenient. How convenient is this? All right, so let's go in here and ahead and clear this out. I want to thank one of our subscribers for sending this to us. Hello, Rachel. How are you? So this comes from one of our subscribers across the pond, sort of a follow up to a story that we read a while back. The mystery illness, mystery dog illness. Yorkshire water responds over polluted water fears. Huh. So all the dogs drank the water? Hundreds of them? Anyway, let's get into it. A mystery dog illness is reported to have spread across the country from beaches into towns is still continuing to make pets sick, with reports of dogs being sick consuming areas nationwide. Let me close that right there. Water pollution has been put forward by some as a possible cause after reports of dogs becoming ill after a walk along Leeds Hunslet kennel or canal. That's what that is. Canal is CANAL. As well as many more across the region. The DEFRA or DEFRA has been running tests and have found no evidence of polluted water causing a bug. But some people strongly believe the water is polluted and has caused animals to die and become poorly en masse. Now, if you guys remember, I showed a map in this area that this was going on. And I see what they're saying, but I don't think I totally agree. It says one person had tweeted Yorkshire Water to ask if they were dumping sewage into the sea. Yorkshire Water tweeted in response, "We have permitted storm overflows to act as a relief valve in periods of heavy rainfall by allowing heavily diluted wastewater to be discharged into watercourses." I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't have to think so. I don't have to agree, and I don't. All right, so here is another story from the very same subscriber who is sharing with us, who's literally over there across the pond. So we're going to read this too, okay? Because I want to see. All right. So it's a question. What is making the dogs sick on the UK beaches? Cause behind mystery illness that has impacted hundreds of dogs. This was January the 20th, 2022 at 11:09 a.m. Pet owners are being asked to be vigilant after 150 dogs in England have come down with a mystery illness after visiting the beaches. The illness is thought to have originated at the North Yorkshire coast, with some vet practices asking dog owners to avoid the beaches completely. Here's everything that you need to know about the mystery illness that's making the dogs sick. It says where, this is a lot of ads. Where have the cases been reported? At the moment, cases have only been reported in England. The bug originated in North Yorkshire coast, but cases have now spread across England. So it's spread across England. Do you get that? Across England. So far, they have been reported in Sheffield, Leeds, Hampshire, East Riding, Bridlington, and Middlesbrough. What are some of the symptoms to look out for? Well, the symptoms are similar to gastroenteritis. So owners are asked to watch for symptoms including vomiting, diarrhea, and rejecting food. Cheryl Holsworth from the Friendly Animal Care in Sowerby Bridge, near one of the affected areas, stated, quote, "From cases we've seen, it is highly contagious from the speed with which it has moved through the canine population throughout the country." What is the cause of the mysterious illness? The exact cause is not known, but there are a few theories. The RSCPA have cited possible causes, including a virus, bacteria, and parasites, as well as unsuitable food and toxins. Those things are so isolated, though. Because, for example, somebody, here in the States, you might feed your dog Iams. Um, I was a Eukanuba fan when I had my doggie back in the day, my doggie that lived in the house with us. And there are other people who like other food. So it's in the food, but it's hundreds of dogs. Okay, all right. I guess I could see that. However, they pointed out that cases of gastroenteritis are more common in dogs during the winter months. Huh. Hundreds of dogs have reportedly fallen ill after visiting the Yorkshire beaches, but the RSCPA is trying to reassure dog owners. They stated that vomiting and diarrhea in dogs is common in the winter. I don't remember my dogs doing that in the winter. I'm not saying they didn't, but anyway. And have urged dog owners not to panic, but you've got hundreds of dogs that have passed on. I would panic. Well, I wouldn't want my little puppy power out there. When asked what could be causing the sickness, they stated, "We often don't get to know the cause, since most cases recover within a couple of days without any treatment needed." Yes, but you've got over 100 animals that you guys could be running tests on. So, what do I do if my dog is sick? It goes on to say that if your dog is sick, they've recommended that owners keep their doggies hydrated. They also recommended if your dog is vomiting, that it's best not to feed them for 12 hours, and then, if the vomiting stops, only offer them small amounts of something bland. This is terrible for people who love their puppy powers. For people who love their puppy poodles, that's sad. I don't like to see stuff like that. I really don't, because I love animals. I do. I love animals. And you guys saw how I flipped out a few months ago when we thought the turtle was passed away. But then the turtle did pass away. So that was sad. South Pacific volcano eruption shockwaves felt in New York. Huh. This was posted. This came from my assistant and one of our friends to the chat. Elmira, New York, an underwater volcano eruption in the South Pacific on Saturday, January the 15th, had impacts felt thousands of miles away. Let's look at that. Just covering some stories together, that's all. Just having a good time. Nothing fancy. So look at that. Felt thousands of miles away. Go away, go away. Go away. The Tongan Islands are close to 8,000 miles away from New York, but the shock waves from the eruption were seen in New York and all throughout the United States. Ross Lazier, the instructional support specialist of atmospheric and environmental sciences, University at Albany, said the Hunga Tongan eruption was so violent that it caused shock waves, much like the sonic boom. These waves travel at the speed of sound and were actually traceable at weather stations around the globe. Here in upstate New York, we could identify the subtle rise and drop in surface pressure of about 1 millibar total. A small but detectable even for a backyard weather station. Using the New York State Mesonet, is that it? Mesonet? Mesonet. Mesonet. It's Mesonet now. Which is a statewide, state-of-the-art network of weather and environmental observation systems, closed quote. The story goes on to say that as the wave moved across the United States, it first approached from the west. Lazier then spoke about how another wave then moved after that. This wave moved across the northeast of the United States, first from the west and then about 12 hours later from the east. As the waves spread out in all directions across the globe, satellite imagery actually shows that you can see a cloud-like features very high up in the atmosphere as the wave moves by. Similar ripples spreading out to the point. Now, I don't know whether you guys saw this or not, but there was a video that was on Twitter, and a guy shows that something came from the sky. That's what he showed. That's what he said. That's what the homeboy said, and I watched the video, and it was quite curious. Hmm It was quite curious. Yes, it was. Did you guys know that North Korea is getting jiggy with it? Did you know that they were trying to get jiggy with it again? I want you guys to see this. Let's see if we can find the North Korea story about how they were trying to get jiggy with it again. Huh. Let's just check it out. I think I want to see that. Yeah, North Korea right there. So let's see. Let me see. You guys are going to hear. Here we are. There we go. So let's check that out. You may have already seen it, but if you haven't seen it, after you see it here, do me a favor and go over to the other channel and hit the like button, please. But here we go. Let's check this out. They're trying to get jiggy with it. Yes. Na 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 na.
Black on perspective.
North Korea would bolster its defenses against the United States and consider restarting all temporarily suspended activities, the state media KCNA reported on Thursday, an apparent reference to a self-imposed moratorium on testing its nuclear weapons and long-range missiles. Tension has been rising over a recent series of North Korean missile tests. A U.S. push for the fresh sanctions was followed by heated reaction from Pyongyang, rising the specter of a return to the period of so-called, quote, fiery and fury threats of the 2017 era. North Korean leader Kim Jong un convened a meeting with the powerful Politburo of the ruling Workers' Party on Wednesday to discuss, quote, important policy issues, including countermeasures over hostile U.S. policy, the official KCNA news agency said. The Politburo ordered the reconsideration of the trust building measures and prompt examination of the issue of restarting all temporarily suspended activities while calling for immediately bolstering more powerful physical means, according to KCNA. The decision appears to be a step beyond Kim's previous remarks at the end of 2019 that he would no longer be bound by a moratorium on testing nuclear warheads and long range intercontinental ballistic missiles, or CBMS, after the United States did not respond to calls for concessions to reopen negotiations. Washington's hostility and threats had reached a danger line, the report said, citing joint U.S. South Korea military exercises, the deployment of cutting edge U.S. strategic weapons in the region, and the implementation of independent and UN sanctions. Quote, we should make more thorough preparation for long-term confrontation with the United States imperialists. This was a quote from Politburo in its conclusion. North Korea's warning came hours before the United Nations Security Council was due to convene a closed-door meeting on Thursday to discuss the recent missile test at the request of the United States and several other countries. The United States Department and the White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment. President Joe Biden made no mention of North Korea during the nearly 2.5 hours conference on Wednesday, held to mark his first year in office. South Korea's defense ministry said that it's monitoring the North's winter drills while maintaining readiness posture, calling for the recent missile tests as serious threats. The Unification Ministry, handed inter-Korean ties, warned of further escalation, saying the peninsula should not go back to the confrontational past and dialogue and diplomacy are the only way forward. Quote, we should brace for more saber-rattling designed to create warlike atmosphere and possibly more provocation testing, said Jin Lee, a fellow at the Washington-based Wilson Center, adding that Kim will use every opportunity to justify further weapons testing. The North Korea could possibly test long-range missiles or other powerful weapons in the time for the 80th to 110th anniversaries of the birthdays of Kim's late father and grandfather in February as well as April, both major holidays in the country, said Young Moo Jin, a professor at the University of North Korean Studies in Seoul. They said, quote, it's possible that the situation could go back to vicious cycles of provocation and sanctions that we saw in 2017, closed quote. After test firing a ballistic missile capable of striking the United States mainland in 2017, North Korea launched a flurry of diplomatic and not tested its ICBMs or nuclear weapons since. It began testing a range of short-range ballistic missiles after the denuclearization talks stalled and slipped back into a standoff following a failed summit in 2019. For Headlines with a Voice, this has been the Lockhart News Brief.
Lockhart Perspective.
Marty, I'm definitely going to do that. It actually, I'll have to download this and then upload it over there is what I'll have to do, because it naturally goes from Bettina's channel and my original channel automatically on its own. But there is some stuff that I have, and I do have it right here. I'm going to show you that it was sent from my assistant as well as a friend to the chat. I want to show you guys right here because it is very serious. It is dealing with the topic that we talked about just briefly as I was reading through some of the mail. But it says that after the candy bar, that's going on. And so now they're sending people messages saying, hey, you want to do X? Yeah. Yeah. So I think that I'm going to make this a separate video and just upload it over there. Does that make sense? Because it's this, and then it's the case of a case of Varicella zoster meningitis following the candy bar. Huh. Amazing. Huh. And they are here talking about, oh yeah, why get involved in the clinical study for this? Let me show you what this says. So yeah, I think I will do that. Just take this down altogether and shove it over there. Shove it. Just shove it over there. Okay, so this, and then this one. Let me copy this one and put it over here. Paste. See if you guys can see it. Yeah. Why join a meningitis vaccine? This word. And they are constantly using our kids. They're constantly using our kids. I mean, on almost everything. On almost everything I see. It's like, that really does bug me, especially in light of the story that we read earlier where it was talking about, they're allowing kids to go and just do whatever they want all willy-nilly. And the sad part about it is there are a lot of disrespectful teens out there these days that just think they know it all. They don't have a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out of. And a lot of them are so disrespectful that they will do anything that they can to prove to the parent that they were right and the parent was wrong. And this is not good. You see that? So yeah, I do want to take all of this. It really does, Marty. It's like, why? And nobody seems to put the correlation with, and like I said, my whole dad's side of the family is just gone. Every one of them are just, hey, here you go. They're raising their hands for everything. I want, pick me, pick me. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. I saw that. Yes, absolutely. Rachel Van Zile. Fragile reminds me of that Christmas story movie, Fragile. He says it's fragile on the side. He said Fragile Van Zile. So yeah, so I just wanted to hang out with you guys a little bit. Relax really, really a lot today. I hope you guys did the same thing. Hey, Anarchy Television, man, you've been over there jamming on the one. I've been seeing you. I've been checking you out. Jamming on the one. Yes. I got all of that goodness information. All of that goodness information. I got it. And I am definitely going to put it all together and put it over there, really, because that's, oh, gee whiz. What do you do? Just, what do you say? What do you say? Hey, NRK, Televisione. Yeah, it's sad. It is really, really sad. Yes, they are. They really are in that state, especially because they lowered the age for street workers and, being turned in and turned over to the uh, Child Protective Services a few years ago. And people out there were like, oh, that's a good thing. And I'm like, gee whiz, you guys are really, really special cases back home in California. And when I say home, I mean where I was raised, not necessarily where I'm from. So, yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So I'm going to let you all go. But again, just wanted to hang out with you, put a couple of things over on Headlines with a Voice. But let me see, there are two more stories that I've got to upload over here. So by the time I upload them, gee willikers, they may be old, but still, it's still good information to have, right? Yeah, I think so. I don't really get so concerned about being the first to drop something. I really don't. Not the first. But remenema, I do get, I I like to make sure that at least I put it up. So if I did the work, I need to put it up. Everybody is loving on each other, and I just love it. Yes, this is problematic worldwide. Yeah, these teenagers are just, it's terrible. That is amazing, M. Leslie. Oh, but it is sad, the things that are going on right now. But we just have to keep our heads up, right, folks? So I'm not sure if we're going to do a Sunday dinner tomorrow or not. We'll have to see. That would be good. Even if we don't do anything but just hang out and maybe read a couple of scriptures. Or how about Bible trivia? I think that would be a good idea, don't you guys? Bible trivia on the Lockhart perspective. I think that would be fun. We'll just read the question, and you have to say where the scripture, the passage comes from. Yes, yes, yes. And our young Mr. The young man who won the book the other day, his book is on the way. It's on the way. All right, you guys, I love y'all. You guys continue to take care of yourselves. Remember what we always say on any of the Lockhart groups, information, publication, whether it be our blog talk or YouTubers or anything, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. You guys take care of yourselves and continue to take care of one another. Until we see each other again, please continue to be blessed. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way, helping you to make it through another day. Yeah, everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Like our perspective.
Hey, I wanted to ask you guys, wasn't it great to see Ronnie the other day? That was just a really quick question. Okay, this never happened. All right, bye-bye.